reading and discussing from young, maybe something about this vision, Kirtan rising to the peaks, Krishna hearing, or anything else that we talked about. Anybody have some reflection? This is good to, it's a churning process. Hari Katha, Krishna. Yes.
I don't have this vision of Kirtan, unfortunately. but I have reflection on. Okay. Maybe I will repeat. I don't have this vision of Kirtan, but I have a question, or I have some reflection since some years already, and it's kind of sadness and disappointment that people in India has so many tirthas, so many secret places and rivers and hills, etc. And when you go outside India, then it's just river and something like this. But I can say that of course anthropologists, they know that before Christianity, before Christians, and before also before Islam going here and there and ruling, people were worshipping different places and hills and rivers and streams and sometimes trees, and there were secret forests and things like that, and it was spread everywhere. Because for me it's strange that only India is so secret, and outside is everything is or not secret. Like, why?
Secret or sacred?
Sacred. Sacred. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sacred. And for me it's a really strange thing. Why? I have this. I'm living at this beautiful big river, and nobody is worshipping her. Why? But some people are doing this now because they understand this is a source of life, like river is, or if we meditate on this mantra from second canto, that rivers and streams are actually vines and just veins of the supreme, or of the cosmic manifestation, and hills are like his bones.
Yeah.
Then I can see. Of course, it's not like Govardhan Hill. I cannot say it's the same. That would be not proper. But at the same time, people depersonified all this phenomena of the nature, and now they have no reason to protect. The only reason is that it is a source of life, but sometimes forget about it. So this is my disappointment regarding India and everything outside India, and also the disappointment that we do not at least respect those different places. We have one place near to Wrocław. It's called Ślęża, or Silesia Hill, that was worshipped, and it was worshipped by people from the whole Europe. I heard that people from France were coming to Lower Silesia to worship this hill.
Really?
Yes, it's very similar because it is flat area, and in the middle of this flat area there is like 500 meters high hill, and there are some secret forests and secret trees that were worshipped as well, like oaks, small and stones also. And and then Catholic Church took over this hill, and they tried to anyway. Anyway, I don't like to go into this, but this is just my sadness, my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what the anthropologists do is they give a name to this. They give a term, a name for worshipping hills and streams and rivers and trees and so on. Animism. It's animism, and just by labeling it, then it kind of denies its validity. Of course, the environmentalist movement is trying to bring some of that back, but I feel a similar sadness. It seems like it's too little, too late. But maybe not. Maybe it's not too little, too late. I like to think of Krishna as the original environmentalist, the primordial environmentalist, as he subdued Kaliya. Kaliya was causing havoc because of the pollution he was creating. And Krishna comes and sets things right in a very sweet way. We might say also he's we can say Giriraj is also the primordial environmentalist, because he's providing all the natural good things for Krishna's pleasure. And that's the core of his service as described in the famous verse. Hantaya Madhuravala Haridasavarya Yat Rama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramodha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayos Tayoryat Paniya Suyavasa Kandara Kandamulai. He is serving Krishna by offering nice paniya. Literally, I guess it means drinkable water, potable water. Suyavasa means nice sweet grass for the cows. Kandara means caves. He's providing caves for Krishna's trysts with Radha, and also the cowherd boys. They play in the caves, and when it's raining, they go in the caves. And Kandamula means roots, certain kind of roots, I believe. So Govardhan is kind of this emblem, you can say, of environmental well-being. And yeah, if we can get a sense of that spirit and bring it to the rest of the world, that would be very nice. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Rajamati. Microphone.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. As the kirtan was going on, I was reflecting on how Krishna, who is of course also localized, but who is also everywhere, how Krishna means attractive, and how Rama is like pleasure and pleasure giving, how this giving and taking is infinitely present at actually every place and has in infinite amounts. And I was reflecting on this, and when it comes to environmental topics, I wanted to suggest maybe as we are going on parikrama as a group, we can pick up some of the trash that is on the way. As a group, I felt like this would be something nice.
You may need a very large bag.
Yes, I was thinking of this. how we could do it.
But yeah, that can be a nice service. You have to see how to do it without becoming a straggler and, losing the group as we're moving. But anyway, it's a nice thought.
Maybe we could only do the part between here and the retreat center, because even that
Yeah.
is quite a bit.
Oh, even that. I mean, there's that whole huge field which is just full of garbage.
As much
I
as
don't
we
know
could.
what you're going to do with that.
And a small comment about like Islam and worshiping nature. In Turkey, there are a lot of natural sites that are still worshipped along with Islam.
Mhm.
Usually, the presence of saints in those natural places is worshipped rather than
Mm.
natural objects themselves.
Mm.
Hare Krishna.
That's interesting. And that is relevant here also, because why do we worship Govardhan? Well, so many reasons. But a very important reason is because the saints worship Govardhan. And we may say that's the principal reason. Who are we to worship Govardhan? What do we know? What do we understand? But the saints, the Goswamis, the sadhus, going in our tradition back to Madhavendra Puri, and then, of course, the six Goswamis, and many sadhus. And we will see as we're doing parikrama, there's so many sadhus who live here, who are quietly doing their sadhana. We will also see, of course, we'll see many parikramis, many who are doing parikrama. And if you haven't already seen, you'll see some people doing dandavat parikrama. And that's quite an amazing thing. I've been advised we have another devotee, Vikram. We have Vikram here. There's another Vikram Prabhu will be joining us after a few days, who lives in Govardhan. He lives on the other side. And he said to me in all seriousness, he said, if you must do Dandavat Parikrama, at least of Radha Kund Shyamakund. And he said, when you do Dandavat Parikrama, you will feel after that there was life before Dandavat Parikrama, and there is life after Dandavat Parikrama, and they're not the same. Such a transformation, he said, is there. Have you done Dandavat Parikrama? Full Giriraj? Well, would you agree with Vikram? Definitely. Do you want to say something about your experience?
I was studying in Vrindavan Gurukul for 7 years, and it was like everyone has his dreams. So for me, doing Dandavat Parikrama was like a dream. I want to do it. I want to do it, and I was so fixed. And it was during the month of Purushottam month, which is super hot, and it was like 4 years before. And then when I was coming from Nandagram to go for Dandavat Parikrama, I asked one of my friend, would you like to join? And he said, he was so funny. He said that if we are going to die, why should we die alone? If we are going to die, why should we die alone? Let's take others. And 4 of us came. By the way, it was funny that he's always joking with me, because the Brajabasis always want to be in company. They cannot be peaceful or like that. So 4 of us came. We were staying in Jatipura and everything. And on the first day when we have a culture how to start a parikrama, Danvat parikrama. So we went to one very nice Brahmana who worships Giriraj in Jatipura. So he was the one who gave us the stone which we will use to do our Dandavats, and he told us the vows which we should maintain. He told us all the details that you should sleep on the floor during that time, and you should not cross over where you have stopped your and many other principles he told us. And he was giving the stone and we were paying danvats to him, and then he starting, and the three of them, they were in front of me, and at that moment I really felt that because it is so much tapasya for the body, I just felt, Krishna Murari, you can still skip it. It is, yeah, it is not yet started. You can still skip it. And I didn't knew, like, my hand was like that, and the stone came, and I was like, now you are done. Now you are done. Now you have to do it. And on the first day, we only did like 2 kilometers from there and up till here. There's an ashram up till there, and we went back. And on the first day, everything was like full flat. We didn't knew when we slept. So it is tapasya for the body. And then it went and it went. But I was doing in the night. It was like throughout the whole night. Like we would start around 7 or 8, and then we would come 4, 5 in the morning. And in the meantime, when we could sleep there, on the place. But every dandavats, which we paid to Giriraj, I up till this day, I remember whenever I crossed through that portion of Giriraj Parikrama, I still remember what happened to me on that area. So, if you want to love a person, you should know about that person fully. You cannot love any person if you don't know about him. So when you know about Giriraj in such a detail, that how he looks on which part of his parikrama, that's such a deep experience to see. And by each dandavats you remember the place and everything. And we took shnan at all the kunds, all the holy lakes, which is a part of a principle that one should take bath at all the holy places and everything. And because we were like Brajabasis, we would interact with other Brajabasis doing parikrama, and we would sing something to them, and they would sing something to us. And it was like it was my last day of doing the Danvat parikrama. I was on that side near Punchari, near which is the tail of Giriraj, and there was one Baba in the night, and we may find such Babas like always, and he was singing on his kartals, and he had a small drum, and he was doing that, and he sang a song to all of us when we were doing, and he said, and the song was Yugal Kripa ki drishti bhai, Yugal Kripa ki drishti bhai, that everything which happens in this world is by the merciful glance of Yugal, means by the merciful glance of Radha and Krishna. And that really touched all of us, all 4 of us, when we were doing the Danvat Parikrama, that everything happens in this world, not like the blueprint or the final print of everyone's plans are already done. But we might think, oh, I thought like that, I planned like that, and it's happening. It's just some part of the plans are matching with those master plans. Not our plans are already done. So that moment was really touching. And after that, there was so many inspirations spiritually, also like practically. Like Mataji was telling that we should pick up and everything. Like when we were doing parikrama, you just have to pay dandavats and you just see half a puri touching your body. It doesn't really feel so good, because things happen. Like many devotees are organizing bandaras, like feast and everything. They're feeding people, but things should be little organized in a way. But when you do such Dandavat Parikrama, you remember that I should not be doing such things. It should be done in well taken care way. So when you do Dandavat Parikrama, it's really some really deep experience you feel like.
What do you think?
You should do it.
I didn't used to see, but now I see everyone practically. They bring some pad, some styrofoam, whatever. That's not so bona fide, is it? No.
We personally took only a small pillow, like just for the knees. The rest, we were not taking this like big bed. The bed follows you. We just took like a small pillow, just on the knees, and you're doing it fully. It was.
That's
Yeah.
proper.
And all the time they put only some gamchas on the.
How many days you were doing that?
I finished in 6 days.
Wow.
The 6 nights it took me. On the 7th night, we organized a bandara, like a small feast for the brahmanas there at the temple. So it's like when you do some vrata, you feed the brahmanas, you give dakshina to them, and it's like completing the process.
I feel satisfied just hearing about it.
So we can make there this Dandavat Parikrama Maharaj. There are always options.
There are always options we might find. There's a Shila in Jatipura. They call it Dandavati Shila. It is said if you do Dandavat of that, it is same. This way. But it's a good way to do it.
And also in Radhakund, there is the tongue of Govardhan in a little temple, and they say if you do 7 times parikrama there, that's equivalent, isn't it, of the entire. And it's very comfortable because it's all nice marble. Anyway. Okay, maybe just 1 or 2 more thoughts. Unless, does anyone else have something you want to? Oh, yes, here, Gopal. You've been living here now for quite some time. Jai, jai, jai.
Is there a mic?
My Dandavat pranams, Guru Maharaj. My pranams to everyone here. And it's so nice to see some friends from Slovenia. I'm really happy to have your darshan as well. So Guru Maharaj, two questions. One is the reference for the article that you were referring to, or the paper, from Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj, and it says Sri Krishna Kshetra number 15. Okay, thank you. And the second one was, and maybe it's a very naive question, is that we're doing parikrama in other parts of Rajasthan as well. And we were looking at one deity, and my wife said, oh, well, the original is somewhere else. And that really made me think, how are we to understand that there is an original deity that we worship? And it's on the same lines of perhaps the subject matter we touched upon, worshipping Giri Govardhan, and the article that you mentioned, how are we supposed to understand that one deity perhaps is called the original, and the other one that I have in my house or in other temple, or even the temple in the next village to the original deity, and then the circle of influence. Does it work like this? I'm still baffled. Thank you. Thank you.
So, what can I say about this? Not a whole lot, but the some of the original deities worshipped by the six Goswamis, Shat Goswami, in Vrindavan, as you know, eventually were brought out of Vrindavan, out of Braj. And, well, three, four, were brought to eventually Jaipur. I believe Govinda Dev took more than 20 years to get there. There's a history. He made stops along the way. And I guess with each stop, the devotees worshipping were saying, "You stay here with us." And Govinda Dev is saying, "Yeah, but I have to go." And then for example, Govinda Dev, the temple now in the Govinda Dev temple, the deity in the Govinda Dev temple is understood to be non-different from the original. What's the technical term? I want to say pratima, but pratibhu. That's the technical term. It means something like counterpoint, counter-existent thing. So the understanding is there's a non-difference, and wherever there's a non-difference, you can be sure there's also some sort of difference, right? Something inconceivable is going to be there. And so I would say it like that with these deities. So, for example, Govinda Dev, there's a long, long history of that deity. We understand going back to Krishna's great-grandson, I believe it is, Vajranava, yes, Vajranava. He is said to have established Govinda Dev, Hari Dev, Keshav Dev, and Baladev. Where is Baladev? Oh, that Baladev. Okay. Yes, Dauji. I confess. So that, there's something. No. Shame.
No, we have to go.
So there's something special about these deities. And at the same time, there's a non-difference with deities that are understood to be pratibhu of those deities. But I would say it's their non-difference is there, because the original is there, the pratibhu can be regarded as non-different from. So I think the non-difference tends to go more one direction, unidirectionally. You know what I'm saying? As I understand, many devotees have this understanding with their personal home deities, that my deity is an expansion of, especially one hears about this with the deity Venkateshwara, known in the north as Balaji. Venkateshwara is in the south at Tirupati. So many people will have their own home deity, and they'll see him as an expansion of the original. I think that's also the case with the Vallabh Sampradaya, the Swarupas, isn't it? So they have, is it 8 deities called Swarup? These are considered sort of primordial, including Srinathi, who is now in, the original is now in Natadvar. However, I just learned this, you must be knowing, I just learned this from our Vikram, that it's understood Srinathji's morning worship goes on in Natadvar, but his evening worship is going on right here. And if things work as we hope they will work, and there's very good chance, yes, Soumya is nodding, that we can have evening darshan on our last evening of our retreat. Does that sound like a good idea?
Hari-Om.
No? No? Yeah, so that's what I can say. Something more. Chai Jagan.
I don't know if I heard it properly when you were reading from Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj's essay, but I was attracted to the idea of the devotee as the sort of perfect container of apparently contradicting realities, insofar as he has the contemplative peace that is, let's say, intrinsic to like a Gyan Marg person, because he understands that God is everywhere intuitively by his devotion, on the one hand, but on the other hand, he also endeavors to reach that God, which is, it strikes one on an intellectual level as contradictory insofar as what is the necessity of moving towards a reality that's all pervading? He's already at all the spots, so there's no need for movement. But the devotee is moving nonetheless towards that reality on the one hand, but by his devotion intuitively knows that God is not very far away. And so the devotee becomes the container of that apparent contradiction, which is the Supreme Lord who harmonizes contradictions. So I was very much attracted to that. If I heard it properly, I thought it was very beautiful.
Very nice, yes. That wasn't said explicitly, but I think you brought it out. Yeah, you may remember he was giving 2 features to the dualist. One was the determination. I'm going to cross this gap, and the other was his humility, his or her humility, the deep sense that I'm in a terrible predicament in this world, and there's no question of making that leap without being utterly humble. So that was on that side, and then the contemplative, as you said, confidence, I think, that, yeah, the Lord is right here, not so far away. But I like what you're saying, that he becomes a container of the apparent contradiction of these. One may also want to say, though, that because of the confidence that the Lord is present, that peacefulness, which is somehow, that peacefulness that the devotee feels becomes a wellspring for the determination to pursue, to serve, to jump the gap and to serve the Lord. And it's also the wellspring for humility. But I think you could turn it the other way around and say the same thing. You could say that determination, the humility become foundational for the peacefulness, which it's a container like you said. Thank you. Good. Okay. Well, I had so many notes. Let's see, something maybe we can end with for today. Hold on. At risk of bringing the mood, I shouldn't introduce it this way, but I'm going to do it anyway. At the risk of sort of bringing the level down, we've been kind of up here. We're going to come down a little bit. There's a devotee in America, Raghunath Das. He's become pretty well known, if not famous, together with Kaustuva Prabhu, with their wisdom of the sages. They have how many thousands of followers now? They have a lot of people following their podcast. Raghunath is a very dynamic preacher and insightful. And I was able to get from him 6, indirectly from his group, 6 affirmations for practicing just in general Krishna consciousness, but I think they're nice also for keeping in mind for our retreat. Yeah, you might want to take note of them. They're very straight and simple and kind of to the point. And they're, most of them are positive affirmations, but the first one is slightly on the negative side, but it's, anyway. Okay, you want to hear these?
Yes.
Number 1, I will not criticize. Ooh. Ay, ay, ay. Number 2, I am tolerant. We can think of the trees, the tolerance in the trees. Number 3, I take no offense. Ooh. What does that mean? That's a slightly English phrase. To take offense means somebody says something and I'm offended. This affirmation is saying I'm not offended. It doesn't reach me, even if it was intended to offend. It doesn't register. It doesn't offend me. I don't feel offended. I don't feel disturbed. And the counterpart of that, we could say, is number 4. I am quick to apologize. I'm quick to apologize. Kako se kaže po polsku apologize? Oh, przepraszać. Przepraszać. The infinitive. Przepraszam. Yeah. Number 5. Oh, this has kind of 2 parts. I see the good in others and I let them know it. Because when you let them know it, that kind of completes the circuit of the seeing, of the registering, isn't it? It's acknowledging those They say what comes around, what goes around comes around, and similarly, what comes around goes around. And on the positive side, you can make something go around which comes around very nice. And the last one is, this also has kind of two parts. I am grateful, and I keep tally, that is, I keep count of my blessings. This was, I always tell devotees, this was the best lesson I learned from my mother when I was a little kid, crying about whatever. And she would say, count your blessings. Count your blessings. I couldn't understand what she meant. Blessings? What is a blessing? She never explained. I sort of knew. Okay. Yes, we're in the holy Dham. A Dham is an abode, a home. It also means pleasure, so it's Krishna's pleasure place, Krishna's playground. It's also a favorite thing. Srimati Radharani, we are told, when Krishna was making his plans to appear in this world, he informed, or he consulted with Radharani, said, it's time to go to the material world. She said, I'm not going anywhere without my Yamuna, my Govardhan, and my Vraja. And Krishna said, it's already there. It's already there. Already arranged. From Krishna's heart. Especially Govardhan manifests from Krishna's heart. Dhamma also means majesty, grandeur, majesty, Dhamma. This is the Dhamma. Even the sound of that word has a resonance. Majesty, glory, splendor. And there are 5 kinds of Dhammas. Let's maybe save that for another time. There are permissions to be requested to enter the Dham. And ideally we would, if I understand correctly, you can correct me, we should be first going to Vrindavan in order to offer respects to Gopeshwar Mahadev, who is Lord Shiva, who comes to experience what it is to be a servant of Krishna as a gopi. And he is dressed as a gopi every evening, isn't it? Yeah. And he is the Ishvara of the gopis. So he's overseeing, he's protecting. We would go then to Yamuna. We would offer respects to Yamuna and beg her blessings. We can at least do this in our minds. We will be going to Vrinda Kunda, so we can beg Vrinda Devi there. I believe Vrinda Kunda is especially her place, right? It's her headquarters. That's where she's managing everything. Everything going on here is managed by Vrinda Devi with all of her parrot messengers. They're coming in. Vrindavan Post, do you want to tell us about this?
So there are 5 doorkeepers of Vrindavan. So if you want to enter a place, you have to ask permission from the doorkeepers. So these 5 doorkeepers are known as Dhampal, the protectors. Like we have Chokidars, so there are Dhampals. So the first is Lord Shiva as Dhampal, protecting, and the second is Yamuna Devi. The third is Vrinda Devi. The fourth is Purnamasi Devi. The fifth is the dust of Vrindavan. So these 5 gatekeepers of Vrindavan, they are the ones whom we should ask permission to enter Vrindavan. And Vrinda Devi has a special place in the area of Nandagram, which is Vindakund. We will go in our retreat there. And she is like the internal manager. Big companies, big management. There's like CEO, chairman, manager, then internal manager, department manager, so many things. So she is like the internal manager who is managing all the pastimes, like, during which season, which type of flowers should go into the service, which type of boga will go into the service, which place will be the best for Radha Krishna's pastime. She's internally, and she has a disciple. And the name of the disciple is Daksha. And Daksha is a parrot. We see them. So Daksha himself has 10,000 more disciples. So 10,000 plus 1 disciple. He has, we have WhatsApp messaging service. He has Vrinda Devi postal service. Vrinda Devi messaging service. So she is the one who is, sending all the messages to all the gopis, to Srimati Radharani, to Krishna, that today the pastime will take place in the area of Govindakund. You come there, everything will be arranged. And now comes the another manager, who's like overall manager. She's Purnamasi Devi. And there's also a place of Purnamasi Devi in Nandagram, in the area of Nandagram, which is Purnamasi Kund. Purnamasi Devi, she is originally the mother of Sandipani Muni, the guru of Krishna. So her husband left body in a very early age, and she became a disciple of Narada Muni directly. So she came from Ujjain, Avantika Ujjain. She was ordered by Narada that you go to the area of Braja and Krishna will soon come there. She came along with 2 of her grandchildren. The first is Madhumangal, the second is Nandimukhi. Madhumangal and Nandimukhi. She brought them. She was living in a cave in the area of Nandagram at Purnamasi Kund. So she came here, and what is her real service? Like when Krishna shifted from Gokul to Nandagram, so she was always going to the house of Nanda Baba, Nanda Bhavan, and she was guiding all the Brajbasis because she comes from the family of Brahmana. So she is known as Puranamasi Purohitani, the priest. So everyone would ask her permissions about different things. So she was living there, and all the things which are like beyond imagination, which we can not perceive, all these magical things which happen in Vrindavan, they are done by Purnamasi Devi. It is said that this Bhauma Vrindavan is like the exact copy of that Goloka Vrindavan. And Krishna every day comes from the area of Nandagram to graze the cows near Yamuna or near Giriraj. And he comes walking, not by the taxi service. He comes walking, and he brings all the 900,000 cows which he has. He brings all of them to Giriraj. And in the evening, he calls all the cows that now is the time to go back to Nandagram. And he reaches back very soon. I come every day from Nandagram. With car, it takes like at least 40 minutes. And how does he come? By walking. If I start walking, I would reach in the evening. But he comes because opening, closing of the lotus, also it's the duty of Purnamasi Devi to do all these magical things. So Purnamasi Devi, she combines the land. It's like if it's like this far land, she combines the land, and Krishna reaches very soon from Nandagram to Govardhan. And this magical happening is only known to Krishna, that she is managing all the thing. So she's the overall manager of the miraculous things which are happening. So we should ask permission from her as well. Then the dust of Vrindavan. In different traditions, or in the different paths of bhakti which are famous in Vrindavan, like Sri Vallabhakul, the line of Vallabhacharya, then Radha Vallabh Sampradaya, where everything coming from Hitayavamsh Mahaprabhu. So from different they have different focuses in their worship. Like in Vallabhacharya's Sampradaya, which is like Jatipura, the area where we are living, it's like Radhakund for us. For them, it's Jatipura, the place where Srinathji appeared. For them, the Vigrah Seva, the deity worship is like their prime focus. They do it like in all best possible way. For those who are in Radha Vallabha Sampradaya, for them worshipping the dust of Vrindavan, they call the dust of Vrindavan as Rajarani. Rajarani means the queen of Vrindavan. For them, these three queens, Rajarani, Radharani, and Rasarani. Rasarani means the Bhakti Devi. It's for them, these three are the same. Rajarani, the dust of Vrindavan, Radharani, and Rasarani. These three are their same focus for them. So they their everyday practices, they take the dust of Vrindavan, they just cover their whole face and whole body, because this is their focus, what they have heard from their acharyas. So the dust of Vrindavan is the fifth doorkeeper which allows the devotees to enter Vrindavan. And during our retreat, we will definitely go to all the different places where we can ask for those blessings. I remember I was reading one part of Prabhupada Leelamrit, where Tamal Krishna Maharaj, when Prabhupada would take the devotees in Vrindavan or to different holy places. So one day Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada, when we go to different holy places, what should we do? What should be our prayer? What should we ask there? So Prabhupada replied very simply. He said that whenever you go to those holy places, you should just ask for one simple blessing, that whatever pastime of Thakurji is happening there, may a part of that be revealed to us, and our life will be successful. That's all. Radhe.
So nice. You're mentioning Prabhupada. I'll just maybe end with, I think, another inspiration for us, that in the last days of Prabhupada's manifest presence, he had a very strong desire to come to Govardhan. He wanted to do parikrama. His physical condition was simply not making it possible. He wanted to go on a bullock cart, but it became a huge debate between two parties of devotees. Some said, Prabhupada wants it, we have to do it, it's what he wants. And the other party said, if we do it, it's going to be his end, because of his physical condition. But there's a little detail to that I won't say now, but the point is that he wanted to come here to do parikrama of Govardhan. So we can also pray to Srila Prabhupada for his blessing, that we can be here. And it is said, I believe, also, Guru Varga, we can enter the Dham by the grace of the Guru Varga. Varga means the line of Gurus. And that's something we want to get a sense of here. I think we will, especially I think in Radhakund, where so many of the Goswamis were staying. And by now you must be expert on who's who and where's where. No? So I think we'll end here for this session. Bodhidharma Prabhu always had a way of ending the session here. Do you remember? Do you want to guide us?
Arjun Prabhu, we call him the voice. Actually, Sachidananda Maharaj calls him the voice of Govardhan Retreat Center. So his way of ending all the sessions and all the days, maybe we can all follow. And we just face towards Giriraj, every one of us. And we would just thank Giriraj for making this wonderful opportunity available to all of us. And in a motion of thanking Giriraj, we will just chant his Jai. We will just lift our hands up in the air, really like we mean it, and all together. Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai! Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai! Bolo Giriraj Maharaj